we're going to be thinking together about the cleansing laws of prosperity. Now again, friends, this is the ideas that we're sharing here with you during this hour are ideas that most success courses don't talk about. Cleansing is the first step in prosperity. And if people around the world knew the cleansing laws or the cleansing steps to prosperity and used them, they would revolutionize their lives for good quickly. Life is a constant purification or cleansing process. The ancient Greeks observed rites of purification and cleansing, and so must we. If we try to bypass the cleansing laws of prosperity, we bypass our good because we have not cleansed our minds and our lives to make room for the good that we want. Now, the cleansing law of prosperity, as it says here on the summary sheet, basically is very simple. You must get rid of what you do not want in order to make room for what you do want. Your good does not flow easily into a cluttered, crowded situation. Your good does not flow easily into a cluttered, crowded state of mind or emotions. And so we must form a vacuum in both inner and outer ways. Magnetic influences are transmitted perfectly through a vacuum. By forming a vacuum, we become a magnet to our good. And so it's a marvelous idea to work with. When we form a vacuum, we become magnetic to our good. Now, we can use it in many simple ways. Basically, get rid of what you do not want to make room for what you do want. And it's good to begin in an outer way. In other words, clean out the closets, the desk drawers, the house, the car, the office. Form a vacuum in an outer way. This makes a believer of your subconscious as you begin to do this. And you begin to get excited, and your subconscious begins to accept this idea and to work with you. It cooperates with you, and it begins to expect something good to happen. There has to be a release of the old to make way for the new. We can unblock and undam our good by forming a vacuum. A woman in Chicago heard about this idea one time, and I do not mean to suggest anything to you, but she decided to stay home the next day from work and form a vacuum. And so she started cleaning her house. When she cleaned out the closets, nothing happened. But when she cleaned out the dresser drawers, she found $30 she had stuck back and forgotten about, and that was her first prosperity demonstration from the vacuum idea. Now, another lady formed a vacuum by cleaning out all of her pocketbooks, and in one of them she found $40 that she had forgotten about. And so it's an interesting idea to work with. A businessman cleaned out his office, and he found an old savings account book, a passbook, with $3,000 in it that he had forgotten about. It was 7 years old, so it would have been $3,000 with interest. Now you say, well, how could you forget that you had $3,000 in savings? Well, I don't know, but I'm inclined to believe that it really happened to this man, because once when I formed a vacuum by cleaning up and cleaning out, I found an entire book manuscript that I had written and forgotten about. Now, how could you forget that you'd written a book? But I had. And so I believe that this man had the same kind of thing happen to him when he found $3,000 in savings. And so it's an interesting idea to work with. And to get us into that state of mind, let's use number 4 together. Let's just begin to declare this idea. Number 4 on the front of your sheet. I now let go. Worn out things, worn out conditions, worn out relationships. Divine order is now established and maintained in me and in my world. Together. I now let go worn out things, worn out conditions, worn out relationships. Divine order is now established and maintained in thee and in thy world. Good. A musician in Southern California learned about this vacuum law of prosperity, and he decided to try it, and so after the first night of our seminar, he went home and cleaned out his own private clothes closet. This was something that no one in the family could say anything about, you see, if he cleaned it out. And so, as he started cleaning out his own private clothes closet that night, he got an idea. He was a public school teacher in the Los Angeles school system, and this was in the spring of the year, and he needed a summer job. And so as he cleaned out that closet, he got the idea for conducting a music workshop around the country in colleges and universities. And so he made a telephone call the next day to his agent, his music agent in New York, who liked the idea and got busy booking him for music workshops in summer school sessions in leading colleges and universities all over the country. Now, the second thing that happened after he cleaned out his closet was this. He said that he had needed more weekend work, freelance work, like playing for parties and weddings and for special events. And so the second thing that happened after he cleaned out his closet was that he got a telephone call from one of his neighbors who was also a musician. She said she had more freelance work than she could do, and could she start referring her overflow calls to him. And so she did, and this was his second result from cleaning out the closet. The next thing that happened was that on his way to work the next morning, he was on one of those crowded California freeways, and he saw a lady on the side of the freeway, and her car was stalled. And he said had he not been to the prosperity seminar, he wouldn't have stopped. But somehow he just felt in an uplifted state of mind and charitable. And so he stopped to see if he could help this lady in trouble.
You can listen to this audio and hundreds of others in the YouAreCreators.tv app. You can even play the audios with the screen off.